In this video example, we're going to explore the process by which end users can claim existing locations in your database. Now, these can be new users, or they could be people who have already created profiles in your crowdsourcing program. But ultimately, it begins with a call to action that you can control in the interface builder to edit this location, or whatever language you particularly choose. In this video example, we are going to kind of simulate both ends of the process, where we are an end user attempting to claim a location, and then as an admin, what it looks like to receive that notification and act on it, and as to whether you want to approve that notification, reject it, and then all the messages that the users would receive in that scenario. So at the beginning of this, I'm just going to claim this random location, sample location 5. I'm going to put in my name. This is my new profile. I'll just say Mike Fatika. And then I'll type in my email. And I'll say this is my house as the reason. Again, this registration form is completely customizable and is up to you in terms of what it displays. So I'll go ahead and hit submit. And it'll say your request to edit has been received and will be reviewed. If approved, you'll receive an email with login info. And so now as a user, I just kind of sit and wait. And as an admin, I would have received a notification. So let me switch to my email. Now in my email here, you can see I have a new email that says a user is requesting access to claim a location. So I can see the details about the user and the location that they want to claim. And I can go ahead and click review as an admin, and I can review that. And so what it's going to do is first it's going to send me to the profile for the person. Because ultimately this is an existing location in my database. I assume that's probably already been approved since it was published. And so I see the name of the user, I see their email address, and I can see the location that they've requested access to. Any custom registration fields would be listed down here. There weren't any in that particular form, but the custom registration fields would be displayed there. So I have an option to enable this user or not, and then I have the option to approve access to this particular location or not. As an end user, you know, Mike Fatika plus SDF whatever at gmail.com, I could have claimed multiple locations. If I did that, they would all be listed here. So we only have one listed here, but there could be 2, 3, 4, or 5, depending on the number of times I clicked that claim request. If I've requested multiple locations as an admin, you can choose whether or not to grant access to each individual location individually. And so as a user though, you have to decide whether, based on the information that you've requested on the registration form, should I be granted access to the directory at all? If the answer to that is yes, you can go ahead and click enable. And what that will trigger is an email to me, the end user, a notification that I have been granted access to the directory and that I should choose a username and password. Now, I may receive one or more grants to access a particular location. In this scenario, I've only requested access to a single location, and let's go ahead and grant access. I'll click access granted. So now the user has their account enabled, and they've also been granted access to that particular location. So now let's switch back to my Gmail and see what notifications I may have received. So I have an option to choose a password for this. And so the email was sent in response to request to claim a location. So I can go ahead and click set my password. I'm going to open this though in a private browsing window so that I don't disrupt the session that's established as an admin. So this is what the end user would then experience as my first time claiming a location. I can go ahead and hit submit, and I can choose a password and hit submit. And now it's going to ask me to log in and hit submit. And now I can edit any records to which I have been granted access. I was granted access to sample location 5, and let's say I really know that this is suite 100. I can go ahead and hit submit. So those edits have been received, and because this interface has stage changes enabled, those edits are under review, and will be reviewed by an administrator. So as an admin, just to carry this a couple steps further, I would have received a notification as an administrator that a user has updated a location. So this user has just updated this location, and the subject here is those edits are awaiting approval. So I can go in and as an admin then review those changes. And notice I've got one version that's awaiting my approval, so I can go ahead and click versions. And I've got the original version, and then I've got this new version. And I could take a look at these and I could see, okay, the only thing that really changed was Suite 100, and that 2 new categories were added. And so in this case, I'm going to go ahead and click approve to approve those changes. And what that would do is optionally notify the user that their content was approved. That's an optional action based on whether this checkbox is checked or not. But ultimately, if I click approve and I click OK here, this will take those users' edits and it will apply them and overwrite the data in MetaLocator with these staged changes. So make sure that those changes are in fact what you want merged with your real live production data. And so I'll go ahead and click OK. Once I do that, the system will take those changes and they will overwrite. So now I can see that that suite number that was contributed in this scenario is now appropriately displayed. As an end user, I should have gotten a notification, which you can see here, that says your content has been approved. Congratulations, those edits have been approved by an admin. And if you wanted to, you could go further and log in and provide further edits if necessary. But that ultimately illustrates the process of logging in and approving changes that are coming from end users and their experience as end users, and also your experience as an administrator.